we'll kick off, and the first thing that we'll be talking about is the value proposition that Nedbank offers, which is individually tailored rotations. And really, Nedbank has been a training office since 1997, so we've got experience in developing and nurturing global business leaders. And one of the ways that we do that is affording each and every individual an opportunity to choose a rotation according to their business aspirations as well as career aspirations. We don't have a pre-structured program. We partner with each and every trainee to fulfill their career aspirations. Perhaps to kick off that discussion, Nazmia, take us through the different rotations that you've done and maybe share some key projects that you've done in each of those rotations for the listeners to understand better what you do here.
Sure, no problem. So I began my CA journey at PKF Octagon, where I completed a 3-month audit secondment. The reason I chose external auditing over internal auditing was to broaden my exposure. Since I had opted to complete my article journey in the banking space, I saw external audit as an opportunity to broaden my experience, gain invaluable experience into the audit process, and ultimately reaffirm my decision of choosing to do my articles in banking rather than the traditional audit route. During my time at PKF Octagon, I worked on 2 audit clients. The first one was an NPO focused on empowering women who are interested in pursuing careers in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematical space, as well as a property client, a listed property client in the property sector. A key highlight during my time at PKF Octagon was independently traveling to malls owned by the client to conduct physical verification of their property, plant, and equipment. I appreciated the level of autonomy and trust that my line manager had in me, which made the experience both empowering and very rewarding. My second rotation was in the group financial control space at Nedbank. This was also in my first year of articles. In this rotation, I worked across 4 teams, consolidations, IFRS advisory, reporting, and planning. One of the standout moments of this rotation was independently completing the assets and liabilities not at fair value note, which was actually featured in Nedbank's interim financial statements. I also contributed to several IFRS advisory technical opinions on complex banking transactions across all the business units at Nedbank. I truly felt like an IFRS guru. In my second year of articles, I spent the full year rotating in Nedbank Property Partners, which is in CIB and a division focused on structuring and funding property transactions through mezzanine funding and equity participation. During this rotation, I played a key role in supporting the origination and execution of deals. My responsibilities included financial modeling to evaluate deal returns and ultimate viability, drafting investment sanctions to be presented to the bank's investment committee, issuing legal instructions and reviewing legal documentation. I was also actively involved in implementing extensions for existing clients, which included conducting sector and deal-specific performance analysis to motivate why the client needed an extension. My final and current rotation is in the transactional services sales space within the power and infrastructure sector. This role focuses on delivering short-term liquidity solutions through liquidity working capital facilities such as letters of guarantee, letters of credit, asset-based finance, all tailored to meet the evolving needs of our clients. Fun fact, Claudia is actually my line manager this year. A key highlight of this rotation has been upskilling in a very relevant and dynamic sector. Gaining a deeper understanding of the energy and infrastructure space, as well as project finance. This knowledge, is essential for advising our clients effectively, and it enables me to align our financing solutions with the specific operational needs and project requirements of our clients' businesses.
Well, you've had quite a journey there, Nazmia. And I just want to pick on what you've shared now, the fact that in Nedbank, we actually afford our trainees an opportunity to choose to do their audit experience or exposure internally or externally. And if you choose to go externally, that's when you partner with PKF Octagon and you have a 3-month secondment. I think that's an incredible offering that we have. So, Naledi, maybe over to you. How did you decide on which rotation would you choose? What did you consider?
So coming in at first year is obviously very daunting. There's so many rotations. Where do I rotate? Why do I rotate there? So I think I took a blended approach, both strategic and just focused on what I personally would want for myself. So I spent a lot of time having conversations with people, discussing what different roles have to offer you, what different skills you'd be exposed to, and most importantly, how the culture in the team was, because that is very, very important. I also just I wanted to leverage my personal strengths. I was very good at technical accounting, so IFRS opinions were my baby. I actually did the same rotation that Nazmia did, and she actually influenced me a bit because I got so excited at the thought of writing IFRS technical opinions. So I definitely leveraged my strengths. I also really appreciated financial management. So the space that I was in, I wanted it to mirror what I was good at and enjoyed doing. So secondly, I really paid attention to the interview questions that I wanted to pose in my interview, because as much as I understood that them interviewing me, I had to impress them, obviously, but they also had to impress me. And I made sure that I asked them things about how they work, because that was important to me. Do we work in office? Are we virtual? Am I going to get to collaborate with a lot of people in the team, or am I just fixated on exposure from one person? So all of those factors really influenced how I wanted to proceed and where I felt like I'd feel the most cared for, where I would be the most upskilled in a rotation. And yeah, all the interviews I had were amazing. I just think some teams stood out more than others, maybe because of personal connection, which is also something that I paid really close attention to. And just emphasizing again on having the conversations with relevant people about where you'd like to be and where you see yourself, because that also matters. As much as you come into banking and you don't really know much about what banking is, the rotations, it just sounds like a bunch of fancy words. But just really being aware of the skill set that you'd like to have at the end also really helped in my decision.
That was a very robust process, Naledi. You were just choosing a rotation. You're not getting married.
It's
but
the same.
It's important. I guess it's quite important that you find the team that resonates with you. So as much as individually tailored rotation is a value proposition, sometimes it does happen. Quite a competitive program, fantastic rotations on the catalogue. It happens that you don't get the rotation that you want. So maybe Claudia, talk to us about that. How can a trainee navigate that and still make the most of the learning experience?
Absolutely. So it's going to sound like a little bit of a marketing ploy, but I do truly believe that every single rotation that the bank has to offer is a fantastic rotation. However, you go through the process, you have your first choices, and sometimes you don't get placed with that first choice rotation. And it's a little bit of a setback. You have a little bit of a confidence hit. It's kind of like when a date doesn't work out and you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? What if I had just done this? What if I had just done that? What if I had known the price of oil that morning when they asked me instead of forgetting to look at that? But I think the most important thing is to make sure that you make the most of the opportunity at hand. So yes, take a day to wallow, go get yourself a little treat, spend a day or two thinking about, was there something that I could have done wrong? Was there a way I could have shown up better? Because that in itself is a learning. You have to see every setback as a springboard instead of something that keeps you back. However, once you are then in the rotation, maybe your second or third choice, it's still a fantastic rotation. It's still a space where you're going to get to learn and grow. And don't come in with the attitude of, oh, this wasn't my first choice, I don't want to be here. Rather come in and say, okay, how can I make sure that this rotation is somewhere where I shine, where I show the team that I am excited to be here, even if it wasn't my first choice? How can I make the most of it and ensure that maybe if I'm a first or second year trainee, the next time I go into a round of interviews for rotation, I have things behind my name that can show that first choice rotation that I am a trainee who they should want. And just making sure that you make the most of the experience, put your hand up for everything, and don't go in with a bad attitude. Go in with thinking that this is a learning opportunity.
Yep. That's really, really incredible. Thank you for sharing that, Claudia. Maybe lastly, to wrap up the rotations, does Nedbank have international rotations?
Yes, we do. We have 2 international rotations.
Do you want to talk about it, Naz?
Yes. So I think in your first year of articles, you can go to Namibia for 3 months. And then Nedbank also offers second or third year trainees an opportunity to go to London for 6 months, where you rotate in CIB, and Nedbank subsidizes your accommodation, and they give you a daily living allowance.